Okay, we're on 205. Stuff from 205. Dini Yeshiva Sukkah, the mitzvah of sitting in the Sukkah on Sukkahs. Kitab mitzvahs Yeshiva Sukkah, the Sukkah. What is the mitzvah? To live in the Sukkah as one is meant to live in the Sukkah. Shia ochel v'shoser. Okay, the Mechaber says you should eat and drink in the Sukkah. Ramos says v'yoshin mitayil. You should sleep in the Sukkah mitayil. But if you want to stroll, where you can't stroll, Sukkah is large enough you could stroll back and forth. You should stroll in the Sukkah. V'dor b'Sukkah koshiras yom. You should live. Your residence should be in the Sukkah for all 7 days. Bein b'yom bein b'laylo. As you live in your house throughout the year, that's how you should live in the Sukkah in the 7-day period. So that's the reason why a person is mitzdayer. If a person is in this level of serious discomfort, that's not a residence. So that's not similar to the way you would normally live in your house. That's the reason why you're absolved. We'll see later, you're not even permitted to remain in the Sukkah. Choshivas yomim. Also, as beso arai, the sukkos okeva. For 7 days, one's house is arai, is temporary or secondary, and the sukkah, that's his permanent residence. For 7 days, the temporary residence becomes the permanent residence. Ketzad, in what way do we indicate that it's your permanent residence for 7 days? Kelim hanoim, atzos hanos besukkah. Your nice vessels, your dishes, your bedding, you transfer into the Sukkah. Kleshio, shishos v'kosos, vessels that you drink from. You're talking about quality. Basukkah avklei achilo, but the vessels which you eat in, let's say we'll see in the klei achilo. After you finish eating, the Gemara says that, let's say after the meal, you finish your meal and you want to leave the unclean plates on the table. It's not respectful. It should be removed. There's no reason to leave them there. But let's say glasses or cups, that you do leave. So Gemara says, because once you finish eating, you're not eating on that plate any longer. But drinking is something which is unending. The person is always thirsty. You never know when you need your glass. So even though the glass may not be a clean glass, but since you drink, you'll drink out of the glass again. But once people finish eating, you're not eating on that unclean plate any longer. So what's the value of leaving the plate in the Sukkah? So therefore it's considered a disrespect. It should be removed. He explains. The pots, different types, or the plates, chutz l'sukkah, that should be taken out of the Sukkah. Ha-menorah b'sukkah, what about the candelabra, which illuminates? That's in the Sukkah when? That's only if it's a large Sukkah, because it's a question, if the Sukkah has a low ceiling and the walls are close, it's flammable, you could ignite the whole Sukkah. So therefore, then you have the candelabra, the source of light in the Sukkah. The Moisa Sukkah Katan is quoting the Gemara, but it will be a small Sukkah, small area. Let the illumination come from outside the Sukkah to illuminate the inside the Sukkah, because the Sukkah could actually catch fire, and there's no Sukkah any longer. Let's see the Mishna Berura. Ketzad. Person's only able to make the sukkah on the other side of the river. And there's a question, he has to take a ferry across, a row across. On Yom Tif, are you permitted? Right? There's no question of transporting. Are you permitted to get in the ferry? Which means, well, you don't have to pay a fare. You have your own ferry boat, you're going to row straight across. Are you permitted? Or you're going to have a non-Jew to take you across. Okay? They weren't that advanced. A rowboat. Well, if it's a non-Jew, it could be even an electric boat. Or a diesel-powered boat. Well, we'll see. That's the discussion here. It's Amir Lakum Shvus. Is it permitted, not permitted? That's the discussion he's discussing. V'tzorach laver b'sfino ktano al yei maver shkori frame. Either you take a small boat, or you have a ferry. L'sham yesh makil laver al yidei shegoy yavrenu b'shemshu dvar mitzvah. There are lenient opinions that if a non-Jew would take you across, let's say a prepaid fare, those who are lenient. Aleph, we'll see in a moment, the Shartzion.
He's only Shvitar Mitzvah, right?
Well, it's the Sukkah.
I'm saying
Yeah,
maybe
correct.
it's a situation.
Aval harbi machrim b'zeh, but others argue and they say you're not permitted. Let's see the Shartzion. Chay Odom sof klal kuf mevov. The opinion that's lenient is the Chay Odom. Ansham nishas bodom shemakoru midivr Mogen Avrom b'Yishas Simon. And his source is the Mogen Avrom. Lo ovin. He says the Mogen Avrom is the basis for the lenient ruling of the Chay Odom. So the Mishna Berura says he doesn't understand the Chay Odom. The Reikosov Shem behedjel chatchila also lavor. The Mogen Avram says you're not permitted. It's something you should not do. So how does he use this as a basis to be lenient? He says the Machzor Shekel is a commentary on the Mogen Avram. The way he explains Mogen Avram, it's contrary to what the Chay Odom says. To the contrary, that Mogen Avram is machmi. You should not go across. Chol dvorov shom b'shusodom einu muchrochim pri chodosh chemash be'agroshom chen tzideh gam pri megodim. Pri megodim is the main commentator on the Mogen Avram Taz Shulchan Aruch. Divrei Yosef Shemishin Lametes b'Shem Harbi Achronim Tzimrei Shmechesh Harei Tshuva Shem Sefer Nisiv Chaim Shemati El Divar Mitzvah Al Yidei King Yeshviso Heite Maril. Okay, it's further. He says he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand the Chay Odom that he uses the Mogen Avram as a basis for his lenient ruling. Okay, not sure. But he says the vast majority are machmir, that you should not.
Same thing could be on a bus.
Same thing.
Usually a machmir when it comes to electric,
I mean, there are many.
gasoline powered vehicles.
Yeah. Many years ago, I mean, the Gemara speaks about if you go and you purchase food on Yom Tif from a store, and you're asking for so many eggs or so many fruits, the terminology used should not be a commercial terminology. You shouldn't say, if you say a dozen eggs, you say, give me 12 eggs. Right? If you normally, it should be in a way which is obvious, you're not using commercial terminology. So, Yom Tif, because people, they didn't have room in their homes to store the food, so we'd go and it was an honor system, and the proprietor trusted the people, and they would pay after Yom Tif. It's not a problem. So over there, I mean, you're acquiring. They were talking about an acquisition, and over there it wasn't a question of Marasayan. Everybody would go to the store and take fruits or the vegetables or the eggs, whatever they needed. They would take from the grocery. No, that's not there. But I'm saying today, everything, it's a Marasayan. Today, if a person, let's say, would somehow have a prepaid, he'd have a card, just has to show the card, they let him onto the subway train. See a Jew going, religious on the subway, what would they say? The man had the fare, he paid the fare. Because it's not that question. I mean, what would be the provision of riding the subway? Nothing. There's no provision. It's not tchum. Your weight doesn't affect the degree of electricity. Nothing. I mean, it would be purely Marasayan. So I'm saying in those days, over here we're not dealing with a Marasayan issue. It's not a Marasayan issue. So that's the question. If it's permitted, it's permitted. It's not permitted, it's not permitted. No. Look, the Staten Island ferry, right? Certain days, isn't it free?
I haven't taken years, but there was a point that it was free.
It was free. There was a time. It was free.
I don't know if it's still
The Staten
free.
Island ferry. Yeah. So I'm saying if you want to go from Manhattan to Staten Island, go, surprise visit. I don't know. Maybe the other way. Maybe. That's also the question. He says on the bottom of the sheet. See, he says if you'd be kona shvisa on the boat, yeah, you're right. Tchum would be an issue also. It's in the city. It depends where you come from. It's not simple with a tchum. You come one way, it's within the tchum. You go another way, you're out of the tchum. Okay. Everybody would know if nobody pays. Don't know. Maybe it would be a question here. It would be a question of uvda d'chol, which we discussed. There's a tshuva by, there's a work, it's called Kaf HaChaim. It's written by a person, his name was Rabbi Yaakov Sofer. He was an Iraqi Jew. It's an equivalent of Mishna Berura. And he has a question over there, riding a motor scooter shul on Yom Tov. Are you permitted? Okay? Be the same question with a bicycle, right? The person wants, it's a long distance, you want to ride a bicycle. Transporting is not a question. Are you permitted? So if there's a motor scooter, he says, firstly, it's a question of nolad. It's like the equivalent of striking a match, because every time you put your foot on the gas, you have sparks. You create sparks, because that's the spark plug. It's igniting the gasoline. 1 second. You're right. He's speaking about a motor scooter, and then he says it's uvda d'chol, since that's what it's not what we call within the spirit of Yom Tov. Same thing. People don't ride bicycles, on Yom Tov. Bicycle is even today, it's considered sports activity, and it's what it is. People disabled. Know what?
What can't do with kids? Kids on scooter, they put one foot on the scooter and they pedal with their other foot. Okay, but you're going downhill, you put both foot on the scooter. You don't pedal.
Yeah.
It's a skateboard, right?
Fancy form of walking.
It's not. Why is it different than a bike? Why is it different than a bicycle? No, it's not because it may break. It's not because it may break. It's not because it may break. It's uvda d'chol. It's uvda d'chol. Also, it's uvda d'chol. Uvda d'chol. It's not within the spirit. That's why it would not be permitted. Yeah, rollerblading would do the same thing. Okay, v'yoshin b'tayo. The Rama says, adds to the mechaber, also one should sleep in the sukkah. Person just wants to have a conversation with someone. You could speak outside or in the house, or you should speak in the sukkah. You want to have a conversation. The sukkah, right? What sukkah should be the equivalent of one's home. You want to have a conversation with someone. You want to meet a person. You meet him in the sukkah, right? You want to have a conversation, business. Speak about a business deal, or you want to share with someone an experience you had during the year. You would have this conversation in the house. Sukkahs, you should have that conversation within the sukkah. Now here. Roy lemait bo b'divrei chol daber bo kim divrei kedusha v'torah. But since the sukkah has a sanctity to it, you should minimize conversation which is unrelated to Torah mitzvahs. Definitely not to speak speech which is forbidden, lashon hara. Go to ashishas v'kosos. One transfers his dishes, his bedding into the sukkah. Okay. He says you should minimize. We're talking about like a casual conversation. Sometimes the sukkah is not a setting, it's not an appropriate setting for a business conversation. You may have to be in the office, you need certain papers, or you need certain equipment which you don't have in the sukkah. So of course then you don't have it in the sukkah.
You want to have it in the sukkah?
What?
You want to have everything in the sukkah. Does that be everything in the sukkah?
He says, but if it's divrei chol, if it's speaking words,
that's how you live your life. You live your life in divrei chol.
I understand. But he says because the sukkah has a degree of kedusha, therefore he says you should minimize that. This is similar to Marcus and Shabbos, that Financial conversations you're not permitted to have in the shul. What about relating to the community, which is a mitzvah? Right? Communal, then you're permitted. Well, you want to discuss shidduchim, right? There's Shabbos and in the shul both. During the week too. The shul has a kedusha. You're not supposed to kedusha space on Knesset. So speaking anything unrelated to what the location is, you're not permitted. It's a disrespect. It's a desecration of the location. But if the subject matter is mitzvah related, you're permitted. There's no reason to go outside the shul to discuss it. But he says, nevertheless, he says you should try to minimize.
Yeah, but it's also Chol also, so it's maybe you're still celebrating the Chag. Maybe that's the reason.
Here he says he speaks about business conversation. Dalid Shar Tzion, Achrom Shev Shalom Mikol Mokom Kshu Tzorch L'Dabi Minyoni Esek. If you have to have a business conversation, Elo Lotzis Misuk B'Shul Zer. The Shivoso Shama Ap Beis Diburo Hu Mekai Mitzvahs Yeshiva Sukkah. Because there you're fulfilling. Why am I here? I could discuss it in my office, but I choose to discuss it here because my permanent, it becomes temporary, and what's temporary now becomes permanent. It's a fulfillment of the mitzvah every moment. Same thing. If you normally eat lunch in your office, are you permitted to eat lunch on sukkahs in your office? You're supposed to find a sukkah. You say, well, I normally eat in my office. I don't eat in my home. Right? But your sukkah is a semi-home. It's your residence. You put a mezuzah. That's called beisecho. But we'll get there. We're not discussing the business trip.
Set up a sukkah like a man in the building
Sukkah in the sky.
sukkah in the sky. And he says, you know what, I'm going to move into the sukkah. The whole, I'm going to put my telephones there, I'm going to set myself up.
Right. He's doing a mitzvah. That's a mitzvah. Every moment he's doing business in that sukkah.
There's no problem.
It's not a problem.
It doesn't agree with
No. He says, no, to the contrary. On the bottom he says, there he's been casual conversation. What he says, you try to minimize casual conversation. But business, which is a necessity, you do business, you should not go. He says, you should not go out of the sukkah. To do.
You can.
No, he said, you should not go out.
Should.
You should remain in the sukkah. Right. Okay.